Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Coventry Place residential community. Today we are going to interview Mr. Robert Ruff, who is also a resident of this community. The interview will be conducted by Miss Yvette Moore, who is a residential service coordinator. She is responsible for social engagements, weekly activities, and special events. Welcome, Miss Yvette Moore.
A descendant of sharecroppers in South Carolina, whose resume reads like a storybook of achievements, a visual storyteller, a Picasso of modern times who taught himself how to paint pictures. Telling stories with his fingers, he's earned achievements and recommendations by many organizations like the Artists Collective, the YMCA, Capital Community College, Sands Corporation, the North End Senior Center, Carmen Erase Middle School, CREC, Capital Region Education Council, City of Hartford Youth Services, and many others. Introducing Mr. Robert Ruff. Good to see you, Mr. Robert.
You too. It's always a pleasure.
It is. It's my pleasure as well. We're here today. We want to get a glimpse into your humble beginnings and how you evolved to your present state. We want to hear about growing up in South Carolina up to the current work that you're doing right here at Coventry Place. Mr. Robert is a teacher right here at Coventry Place, and he conducts paint therapy classes with our residents throughout the week. So, Mr. Ruff, tell us, how did it all begin in South Carolina, especially considering the blatant racism that was taking place back during those times?
Well, back then we lived on a plantation. Didn't have the word plantation outside, but everybody that lived there, they worked for the overseer, they shopped at his general store. So you couldn't leave because you were always in debt with them. But we left when I was 9 years old. I arrived in Connecticut. I turned 10, and 1 year later I went back to visit. And I hung out that day with the overseer's son, and he showed me some of his artwork. He told me some of the stories, and he played games with that. And that was what really made me excited about art. You know, I never forget, he made a picture of a little cowboy. It's a stick figure, a cowboy sitting on a fence with a lasso. And I said, man, that seemed to be so much fun. I remembered how to make that drawing.
Wow.
So when I came back, I started practicing that and learning how to make other objects. So that was the really kickoff for it.
That was where the inspiration began.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to just walk in your footsteps for a moment. So going back to that plantation, and what was it like? What was farm life like?
Well, I guess at the time it was okay. I didn't know much better. But it was some tough times, you know. The racism was really tough. If we went uptown and if a white woman was facing us, we were not allowed to look them in the face. You know, we had to look down. We had separate water fountains. And if we went to a restaurant to order food, we had to go around to the back window and order our food from there.
And you weren't allowed to go in and eat the
right,
food?
No, we couldn't go in or sit down and eat, no.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I believe that I heard something in your past about the overseer taking the property that was earned by your family.
Well, back when my father was a sharecropper, he received certain stuff, but they used the tax system to take all that back from him.
So he purchased it, or?
Well, you know, he purchased a car for himself, a car for his two older sons, and he was doing quite well, but he eventually lost all the property that he had.
But did he purchase that property, or was that given to him?
Well, that was given to him. That was a part of the 40 acres and a mule.
I see, I see. But then taken right back away from him.
Yeah, so, you know, we supposedly had our freedom, but we still lived on the plantation. Again, my father, he was a pretty brilliant guy. He ran the farm equipment. He ran the general store. He pretty much was the original, rightfully the overseer.
I see.
But each year he would say, "Oh, son," they would say to him, "You did good this year. You broke even." So it's a funny thing. When we left there, we left at night. A lot of people would leave at night, and
The Underground Railroad type?
well, with not the Underground Railroad, we just left there at night, well, actually, my brother came up here. He went to work. He came back and got my father.
But you had to sneak away. Is that why you left?
Pretty
at
much
night?
so. Yeah, pretty much so.
But you were free.
Yeah, we were free. Yeah.
Okay. So your father and mother took the whole family at that time and came to Connecticut?
Yes.
Okay. And you said you got to Connecticut when you were about 10 years old?
Yes.
Okay. And then one visit back down there?
Yep. The following year we went back,
Okay.
and that's when I was kind of introduced to the art world.
I see. That's when Sammy.
Yes.
And were you two about the same age?
Sammy might have been maybe a year older than me, but
Okay.
we played together pretty much daily.
And because he was a child, was there the racism there, or did he not show the
He did not show it, but the system showed it. Our parents taught us the right behavior when we were out in the public. It might have seemed that it was tough, but the parents had to protect us, to keep us from the lynchings and stuff like that.
Did you two have to sneak to be together to play?
No,
You were
No.
able to.
we were able to play, but one of my older brothers, Richard, he was quite an athlete, and the overseer would take Richard with him and his son, to play baseball. Richard could actually go inside the house.
Because he was a good baseball player.
Yeah, he was a good athlete. He was a super athlete, and so Sammy wanted to be with Richard pretty much all the time. So
I see.
yeah.
I see. You were very young back then, but what were some of the hurdles and the obstacles that you remember facing?
Well, one thing that puzzled me a lot was that when we go to school, we would pass this beautiful brick building, block building, and it was the school for the white kids. And just before the school, there was a beautiful church there, and it was for the whites, and blacks could not attend. And it used to bother me, why would they have something like that? Why would God have a place that we couldn't go to? I didn't understand it at the time. But when I came here, I learned to feel that I was just as good as anyone, and if I had the opportunity to learn something, I could compete with anyone that was doing it. And one of my art programs, I was with the Salvation Army Senior Center, working with the seniors there, and they were all racist, and they really enjoyed my work. They treated me special, and
They were all racist, but they treated you special?
Oh, they wasn't racist.
They weren't racist.
This was here
Okay.
in Connecticut.
Okay. Okay.
They showed genuine love for me.
And that was a different experience?
Yeah, quite a different experience. Yes. So, and that made me feel like my talent was to be used to share with people.
How old were you about that time?
Oh, at this time I must have been in my late 40s, maybe early 50s.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. But prior to that, when you were a youngster, you were feeling inferior
Yes.
until your travels to Connecticut?
Right.
Okay. Okay. Well, we welcome you here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, you talked about your brother being athletic, but were you athletic as well?
Yes, I was. In the 6th grade, I became one of the stars on the baseball team, and that got me a lot of attention, a lot of respect. And I actually went to college on a football scholarship.
Wow, good for you.
Yes.
So you were doing both sports?
Yes. I did baseball, track, and football.
3 sports.
But my brother Richard was my inspiration. I thought he was the strongest man in the world. Thought nobody could beat him in a foot race, and nobody could hit a baseball better than him. So I wanted to be like my brother Richard. Yeah.
Were you two in high school around the same time?
No, Richard's actually 6.5 years older than I am.
Okay. So he was your role model.
Right.
Okay.
And unfortunately, he didn't get to go to school in Connecticut. I believe had he done so, he would have been a professional baseball player.
Wow.
He played the city baseball, kind of sandlot baseball. And he actually got a tryout, an invitation to come to try out for the Dodgers, you know. But he went there, he didn't have an agent or anything, so he got nobody seen him, nobody talked to him. So he came back to Hartford and got married.
So he didn't go to take the college path like you did.
Right, he didn't have that opportunity because he was out of school when he came here.
I see.
Yeah, he quit school and came here, you know.
I see. So you were multi-talented. Athletics, 3 different sports, as well as your artwork. Painting and drawing, or a concentration in painting?
Well, at the time, it was mostly drawing.
Okay.
I didn't know much about paint. I learned drawing. I learned how to shade with the pencil with graphite. And once I started doing the paint therapy classes, the students made me feel that I knew I was supposed to have all the answers. So when they would ask me something, some kind of way I would find the answer. And I think here at Coventry Place, I think my painting skills are about to catch up to my drawing skills.
Wow.
I think it's more therapeutic for me than them.
I think it's therapeutic for all of us here, having you here.
Yes.
And we're so appreciative. And I didn't realize that your focus was drawing first, because you're just as good at painting. When you were in college, were you majoring in art?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. You were on an athletic scholarship, but you were majoring in the arts.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds like a busy, a busy schedule you had.
It was quite an experience.
Do you remember or recall why your parents chose Hartford?
Well, an uncle of mine, he had left South Carolina and he had came to Connecticut and he had gotten established here.
Okay.
So he was kind of like the pipeline, and the rest
I
of the
see.
family started to follow him.
I see.
In fact, he let me have a building for $85 a month. I had a studio, I had a gallery on the first floor, living quarters on the second floor, and storage place on the third. And I thank him so much for that. I could never have been an artist without that gift from him.
What a great opportunity.
Certainly was.
And you put it to good use.
Yes, I created the Inspirational Studio Galleries. It's at 20,
Where was it located?
it was at 28 Sanford Street in Hartford.
Okay. And was it open to the public?
Yes, it was. I was receiving grants from the city of Hartford, and I was having youth come to my studio and take drawing classes there.
Nice. So were you working with all age youth, younger children, teens, young adults?
I started working with teens,
Okay.
and then one year the city said they wanted to give grants to people to work with adults.
Okay.
And I started working with the adults, and after that I didn't have to write grants anymore. They would just call me and tell me when to come to work and where to go to work.
How nice. You earned that.
Thank you.
Do you have a preference between the little ones and the older adults, more mature adults?
Well, the young kids, they don't have any fears. You know, they'll take a paintbrush and some paint and they'll just go to town. Some of the seniors, they want it too perfect, too quick. And then, well, the therapeutic part about it, some that just wanted me to make them a picture, some that wanted me to help them make a picture, and there was actually a lot that really wanted to learn. And they would tell the children that I'm in a painting class, and they say, oh, sure. But when they see the picture, they would take them. So they would all brag about how many different states that their paintings were in.
Wow. Wow. I do remember hearing you say one day, like some of the participants seemed natural because they would let go and just allow themselves to paint without restricting themselves. Just let their lines be free. And that comes from not being fearful, right?
The thing is, I wouldn't allow an eraser in my class because I thought that it made them try to be too perfect at one time. You know? I said, if you don't like the line, you do it with a light pencil. If you don't like it, you just smudge it out with your finger and you just keep going, you know. And, you know, I'm having that issue with some people here at Coventry Place, you know.
It's kind of like a reverse way of thinking, because normally when you're in school, you're expected to be perfect. So you're erasing, trying to get it right. So here you're teaching them to just do it and then improve upon what you've done.
Well, I listen to Bob Ruff. I watch his paintings on TV. And he said, we don't make mistakes, we have happy accidents.
I like that.
Yes. So
like that.
I keep drilling them with that, yeah.
That's an inspirational phrase to allow them to be free.
And and I have to say, we have a residence here. Oh, for the first 2 or 3 months that I noticed her, she sat in a wheelchair. She never spoke at any meetings. Her facial expressions never changed. And I was beginning to think that she had dementia or something, that she couldn't talk. So her daughter came to me and said, could she participate in the paint class? I said, sure. Now she comes in, she talks, and she paints, and she really don't want me to do too much on her picture.
Wow.
So it makes me feel good every time I see her walk into the class.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Well, that speaks to your ability.
Well, because it's not
to
about
inspire.
it's not about creating professional art. It's about creating an atmosphere so they can come, enjoy themselves for 2 or 3 hours, laugh, tell a few jokes, and just maybe walk out with a finished painting.
That's right. And that's how it all started. I remember paint therapy. It was called Wonderful Wednesdays before the days increased. It was just an atmosphere, like you said, a
Right.
calming, relaxing atmosphere to smile, have fun, and just do something special.
Yes.
But you've turned them into master artists. Now they're producing all these masterpieces that are hanging on the walls. So good for you. And I believe that you have people some of the people in the class may even have various disabilities with their hands.
Yes. Yeah, I have one student, well, I got a hand that I can't open all the way, but I have a student who had 2 hands like that, and she sat for about a year watching us draw. And I said, Shirley, if you have the desire, I can teach you to paint.
Wow.
And she's in that room, she was in the class one day till 10 o'clock at night.
Isn't that
So,
something?
she spends 4 to 5 days a week in the studio. Yeah.
That's remarkable.
It is. It's rewarding too.
I like the word that you chose, desire, because that makes all the difference.
Right. If you have the desire, you can learn.
That's
Or
right.
if you have a passion for something, you can develop it.
Excellent. So tell us about some of your international work.
Well, actually, I only have one piece of international work. I was one of 8 artists hired to show Connecticut's involvement and black involvement in the bicentennial. And we depicted the Amistad slave revolt in 1839. And that collection was actually put on exhibit in Russia. So one of my pieces went to Russia.
What period of time did that take place?
This was, I believe this was in 1978 that the exhibit went to Russia. Yeah.
Do you still have any of those pieces?
I have a couple of prints left.
Okay.
Yeah, because I made lithograph reproductions of them, and I kept the originals belong to Amistad House.
I see.
But some of my drawings, I made copies and I sold the prints, and I kept the originals.
You really have some beautiful pieces down the hallway, along the corridor down the hallway.
Well, I just finished a piece last week, and I actually started it 49 years ago.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
And you kept it intact until you were ready to revisit it?
pretty much so. I needed to refine some work on it, but the material is so old, it's not as crisp as I would like. But
I see.
I've signed it. I initially it unfinished, but it still looks presentable.
Nice. What is that piece, if I may ask?
It's called Dolores. There's a picture of a young lady, and in the background I have mountains and hills and the clouds. I call it my Mona Lisa.
Oh.
Yeah, Leonardo da Vinci had a background in that painting that kind of inspired me to try to do that. I've actually did more in the background on that painting than any picture that I had drawn at the time.
So has Dolores been able to see it?
Oh, my daughter sent her a photo shot of it, and it wasn't completed at that time. But I'm sure she'll probably see it
The
soon.
end result?
Yes.
Yeah, I bet that'll make her happy to know that you're still working on that piece that you began.
Yes.
Tell us about your mural work that you've done.
Well, I've done 4 murals, 3 here in Hartford, but they were AIDS awareness. I worked for Connecticut Prison Association, and we had a liaison that went to the prison, and it was a young artist that was working with them. He had started a painting. He had an idea for a painting, but he was shot and killed. So at one of our board meetings, I stood up and said, so they gave me the time to do it. We had someone go into the prison. They interviewed the inmates about AIDS and AIDS awareness, and I sat with the youth, and we came up with the scheme. AIDS, it was a target, so this, in Hartford, it was camouflaged images of people, and there was a rifle, and there was a target on the people, and it was called AIDS. And we did one for Hill House Health Center in New Haven. And I lived up on Sanford Street. Up the street there was a painting that was called I've Been to the Mountaintop. I have a drawing that was done from it in the hallway. And on my studio, I had a mural of my grandparents, the picture of John and Ethel Ruff there now. My grandfather was 17 feet tall on the picture.
Oh my goodness. What a nice body of work.
Well, actually, I got a grant from Capital Region Educational Council. They gave 10 youth an experience that they might not ever otherwise have, and they got $100 a week for 12 weeks to help me paint the mural.
Oh, I'm sure they appreciated that opportunity.
Yes. It was fun times, it was great.
So was that during a summer program?
Yes, when they were out of school for the summer. That was their summer employment.
Okay. And I think you have shared some mentoring work that you've done with the youth. I don't know if that was that group of youth.
Well, it was that group, but I also had one from the Veteran Administration. Okay. I had a veteran that was having some issues, and he wanted to become an artist, so they paid me to work with him one-on-one. They paid him to take the class, and they paid me to teach it. So,
The Veterans Association? And so it was just an at-risk youth?
No, he had been in the service. He was out. He was married, had a family.
Okay.
But he was just having some issues, I guess, from Vietnam or whatever it was.
I see. Post-traumatic stress.
Yeah, and they thought that the art would benefit him.
Wow.
So he spent a couple of years with me.
And did the art benefit him?
Yes.
Wow. You shared that you've done some collaborations with PM Magazine and CPTV. You want to talk a little bit about those experiences?
Well, at one time I made 7 newspapers in a row, 7 weeks in a row. And I was featured on ABC, NBC, and CBS.
Oh, you're famous.
Well, with PM Magazine, the week started with O.J. Simpson and the famous chase. Well, they called it a chase.
Oh, during that period.
And I finished that show that Friday. So they came into my studio. They interviewed me. I had a bird. I used to let the bird out the cage, and he'd sit on my shoulder and watch me paint.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Isn't that? And that was PM Magazine.
Yeah, PM Magazine. Yeah.
And CPTV.
Well, they just did a story on my artwork, a story about my mural paintings and stuff like that.
They covered the murals.
Right, yeah.
Okay. Could you share some of the changes that you've seen in this city that you've noticed over the period of time?
Well, some of the changes I was not too proud of for a while, because when I came to Connecticut in the late 50s, downtown Hartford was a beautiful place. We had 3 or 4 movie theaters, and we had CYC, we had the basketball programs, and there was a lot for the youth to do. Then we got to a period where there was nothing for them to do. Crime grew, but now it seems to be going back the other way now. They seem to be working things out now.
And other than here, where we appreciate you at Coventry Place doing the paint therapy, are you doing classes other places within the area?
Sometimes,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
You know, for a while I was doing the senior summer camp, where all the seniors from different centers, they would meet at Elizabeth Park Pond House.
Oh, that's nice.
And I would do an art group there. And I must have did that for about 10 years, you know. So.
Okay, Elizabeth Park Pond
Yes.
House. That seems like a nice setting to do for
We
painting.
started off at Keeney Park Pond House.
Okay.
And then we had a year or two where we were over at Pope Park. But when we went to Elizabeth Park, then they were there until the end of the program. You know.
And so was that during the summer or year
During the
round?
summer.
Okay.
It was from July 5th to August 28th.
You've touched a lot of people.
Well, I've been touched by the experience. It has made me a much better person.
I want to express our appreciation for you answering the call, coming to share the many talents that you have, whether it's drawing, painting, or being in a calm environment and just being an inspiration. We want to thank you for opening up your door and sharing your talents.
Well, I want to thank you for knocking on my door and asking me if I knew anybody who do paint therapy. That's what I think. I might could do that.
Well, I'm so glad you answered.
Yeah. You know, my walking now, I'm walking with a walker. I'm stumbling around, but my mind is wide open now. Man, I can't stay out of the studio.
I see you in there often,
Yeah.
and the residents can't get enough of you. I see them going in there all different hours, all different days of the week. It started off with 1 day a week, and then that increased. You're certainly a blessing to us here.
Well, I remember I missed one Wednesday. I didn't come in. And Miss Pam said to me, Robert, when I don't have my paint therapy, my whole week is messed up. I said, well, Miss Pam, I promise you, I would not miss another Wednesday. But now she paints with me about 5 days a week. In fact, she called me today, are you going to paint today? Unfortunately, I had a doctor's appointment at 10:30, so I said, no, I'm not going to paint today. Yeah.
It is therapy for them. It certainly is indeed therapy. And so when you're not there, even though you have a life outside of painting, doctor's appointments and other family events, you're certainly missed.
Thank you.
So we certainly appreciate you, and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, and to the listening audience, we wish to thank Mr. Robert Ruff for giving us the opportunity to interview him, and Miss Yvette Moore for being our graceful interviewer. We thank you very much, and we're looking forward to many more like this. Thank you very much.